Hey, what's up? What's up? Hope you're having a great day. Certainly having mine. So I'm gonna ask you one question. Are you here because you're having this great idea, this amazing story in your mind that you have most probably shared it with your friends and families, and now you want to do something about it? Maybe create your own comic and share it with the rest of the world. And for whatever reasons you have, you don't want to paint or do anything with 2D. For my reasons is because I'm not very good at drawing characters and pose them. I'm good at sketching environments, and because I'm a 3D artist for over 10 years now, so I'm more comfortable doing everything within 3D softwares. And for that reason, I have chosen to find a way how can I create my own comic with 3D softwares. Now, this tutorial is for everyone. It's for beginners and advanced artists. You can follow this tutorial with no problem. I will be explaining all the steps and explaining everything you need to understand. So once you're done with my tutorial, you can jump into your own project and start working with that. I will be sharing tips and advices that can help you. So if you don't really know how to pose characters, or maybe you don't know how to model stuff, I will tell you ways that you can speed up your process and how you can do that. So please continue watching this tutorial. With that, let's jump into the actual tutorial. But before that, let me show you what I came up with my own test as in creating 3D mangas with one filter later. So this is the manga. I have put all these panels together just to see what it would look like if I was creating a comic book. And they look 2D. This brush stuff, etc. But they are all 3D. There's no painting. To be honest, the only thing I've done except the filter that I mentioned, it's putting this beep beep effect just to say it's an alarm and you need to switch it off. And if this is something you want to learn, let's jump into the tutorial. But before that, let me introduce myself to you. I'm Mikala Tsunaka, a former 2D, 3D generalist in the gaming industry, currently working on my own first indie game, and today I will be teaching you how you can achieve this manga style look. Let's go! So now that we have jumped into Maya, we're going to work with this building that I have created very quick. It's a hotel, let's say, and this is what we're going to render out, and it's going to work for our manga. We need to have the lines, we need to have shadows, and we need to have the renders pretty much. So I'm gonna show you what you do when you open Maya. First things you need to change, and it's a must. It's go here to the render settings, go to the Arnold render, and go to filter. Now by default, this comes with Gaussian, and that's not gonna help you to have the lines and everything you need for your Toonish lined renders. So you need to change that to drag it down to contour, and now always by default it comes with 2. I personally like it by 1.4, but this is something you choose later. You work with it around. Don't just follow exactly what I tell you. The steps are the same, but what you're going to choose in between, it's up to you, of course, and the style you want. Now, I'm gonna delete the light. We have this beautiful hotel building, and I combine them together because I'll have to explain a couple of things with the lines later, so it's better if I combine them now. So we have this, and we have the ground, just for the sake of having it, really, at this point. Now, first thing first, we need to assign a Toon shader to wherever is going to be in your manga and you want it to be a Toon shader. Now, you don't have to select everything and apply one shader. You can have a multiple shaders applying to different objects, characters, because you need to work separately sometimes. For this one, I will just select everything. So left click, drag, and right click, go down to the assign new material. You're gonna have here, you go to Arnold. Usually by default, as artists, we will go with the AI standard surface, but this is not gonna help us in this case. We need the Toonish, we need the cartoonish, no, sorry, not cartoonish really, Toonish, the line renders. So we're gonna go with the AI Toon, the flat renders we need to create right now. Sorry. So we have assigned the shader AI Toon. I'm gonna name it Manga Tutorial Shader. And let's have the first test of rendering. So you go here to Arnold, open Arnold render view, and nothing. Well, we haven't assigned any, we haven't imported any lighting, so we need to do that. So we go here to rendering for the time being, and what I find the best solution for my case is a directional light. So it's these 3 lines. It works as the sun. You place it, you rotate it with your liking, and work a bit with the exposure. I will put it around 2 to 3 or so. Exposure is pretty much how strong is going to be the lighting, so make it pretty strong. It's not gonna affect you much with the shader, because all you need is white and black, which black refines the shadows and whitish is going to be the rest of the building. And then you have the lines which help you to define the separation and the objects, and you can get a good idea of what is what. And this is pretty much how manga are. So let it test it now. So I'm having 2 screens and forgetting sometimes. Alright. We got a very good starting point. We have some... No, we don't have the lines much, only here. Those are pretty much separating the object. So now those are combined, so they're together. They act as one object. And we don't want that, because in your manga it won't look very good, really. To be honest, let's say what we need to get from here, it's something like that. All the lines that defines what is what, and you understand what you look like. So we need that, and we don't have with the render, the current render. And the reason behind it is because we haven't detect the edges. Usually I prefer to separate the objects in order to have this line separately for every single one, and you get the details. The more detailed an environment is, the better, right? You want these details. So if you have spent hours and hours to building something, but you're not getting the right results because you're not getting the details behind it, it's going to be wasted. So you don't want that. You are going to either separate the whole thing, or in some cases, unfortunately, you can't. You need to keep an object together. But there's another way you can pretty much show all these lines and the details. For example, you have a character and she is wearing clothes, and you want these regals and everything you get here, like you see here the cloth, the lines. If you were going to paint that, they're gonna be lines along the depth and the wrinkles you get here. If it's going to be combined, you're not gonna get that. And if it's separate, still you're not gonna get that, because the lines are going to be created at the end of the object, not inside the object, not currently now. So as you can see here, this is the end of the object. The corners here, you see the lines, they separate, but inside that you're not getting the lines. Those are not the lines, it's just the windows. You get the shape from the 3D software, the 3D render, but when you render it out, you're not gonna get that, and you need that to be precisely. So in order to do that, and keeping in mind that sometimes you need to keep objects combined together but you want the details, all you have to do is go to edge detection, change from shading to normal to geometric normal, and go lower. Try with the lowest you can. You see the difference now, right? It goes for every single object. Not really an object, but it's trying to see where something ends and where something else begins. So it defines the edges, defines the objects, so it does help you. So in my case, That's what I did for my character here when I wanted to get some details for the clothes, for example. Okay, I have other tests who are better, but you see here, like, it's like I penned it pretty much, which I did not. But you get these wrinkles on the cloth, and that's how you do it. You have to define, you have to detect the edges. So the lower you go, the more you get. Of course, you play around with it because every object and every case is different. So what works for me might not work for you. So play around with it. Another thing that I will show you, let's keep it to this. Come on. You don't want to. Okay, it's fine. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Okay, we kept the picture here. Now let's try to separate everything. So go to Mesh, separate. Make sure you go to the shader and put that up. Actually, don't do that. Sorry, my bad. I'm just doing it to show you what's happening now. We've separated that. We render it. We pretty much get the same thing. And of course, it's always good to put more to define better stuff. But you get more because you separated everything. So now each line goes to each object separate. But as I said, in some cases, you have to work around with it. Now another thing you need to keep in mind is the width scaling. So the lower as you go, the less visible it is because it's getting smaller and smaller. And the opacity. I always like to keep them to the highest. And now, one of the most important things. Now, you've got your shadows from here, but they are coming directly from the directional light. You don't have full control of it, and in many cases, you need to have full control of it because, as I said, every environment and case is different. So in my case, I will tell you how I had a control with it. You see here all this grayish color, which I did not apply the filter that I usually do. Well, this is a control of my shadows, and you see this here, the grayish kind of, I don't know, lines around the leg. That's the shadow you get. This is also with a control that I created within the shader. Select one and go to base, where is going to be your color. Now with the width, you can always play around with it. For this case, I always keep it 1 and white. Tone map, that's what we're going to use for the shadows. We need to have control. In this case, I don't really think it's going to help us a lot. It's not going to show us much, but I will explain what it does in case with my test I previously showed from the girl. You go to this checkbox, click that, and type here ramp. Don't select this one just because come first. You need the ramp from the Arnold. So you go Arnold, AI ramp RGB. Now, when you have it linear, it means the shadow is going to be softer and it's going to have these shades from white to black, gray, dark gray, etc., etc. When it comes to manga, for example, and in order to create the style, you need to be sharp. Anime have a sharper shadows compared to realistic shadows, for example, which are softer. So we need to be more careful how we. I mean, you can always work around and see what you prefer. Your art style might be different from mine, so as I said, it's always up to you what you're gonna choose. But in my case, I always choose black, none. Now I'm gonna show you what happens here with render that it's on the other window. Let's render this out. That's because it's sharp, it's going right to the white, and that's how you get your full control. You start dragging it down and you get your details. In our case, it wasn't so, it's a flat, doesn't have much of roundness, etc., etc. So as I said, it wouldn't show you much. But the lower you go, the the closer to the edge comes the shadow. And this is why I was talking about this girl. Now I think you understand a bit more. Um, this is probably 0.052, just to get close to the edge, but not enough, but to give the feeling of shadowing. Same with the clothing. I wanted shadows from back because all the lightings come from, let's say, around here. So all this, it's going to be light, and this is the depth of the ocean, for example, so it's going to be darker. So I need to have a control. So for characters, for example, this is a very good way to control your shadows. Of course, I did use that for here as well. And to be honest, I will advise you, don't apply one material to the whole environment and just say it's done. You can start from applying the same material to the whole environment and then start working around. Start playing around with the settings that I've showed you now, with the base as a color, keeping it usually white and black, white and ramp for the shadows. Keep in mind that edge detection is important for the lines, so play around with that, and always keep in mind to have it geometric normal. And if your render is not working, that's pretty much because you need to go to render and make sure it's counter here. If it's anything else, haven't tried with everything, but if it's by default where it's come, then it's not going to render the lines, and you need the lines. So once you're done with that, I'll show you a trick now, and you will understand in a bit why I use that trick. You go to AUVs here. That's how you render everything, pretty much, the passes you want. I will go with ID, just an ID, nothing else, and render it out again. So now what we need to do, now that we have that, is to File, Save As, and Manga PNG. PNG is going to give you the lines. Doesn't going to give you anything. You're not gonna get this look. Usually you get that, but not when you're using AI Toons and contour for the lines. No, you're not gonna get that with the PNG and not blackish, because you're gonna have to save it as a JPEG in order to have the shades and everything in the 3D-ish look. So manga.jpg, and now you're gonna have that, and this is what we're gonna add the filter to get the manga look. One more pass we need to render out, it's the ID that we have added before, and that's because the JPEG gives you the blackish, and you don't want that. You need to get rid of that, and to do that, we're going to do Save As, one more time, Manga ID, and make sure you have it as a JPEG. When you do PNG for this, it's gonna give you only the lines. So by mistake, if you are wondering why I'm getting only lines, is because you need to have a JPEG as well. So keep that in mind, PNG and JPEG, it's important. The JPEG is going to give me exactly that. The PNG is going to give me lines. I don't know about the ID, but most probably. But anyway, we are done with Maya. Those were the steps, really. Nothing really difficult. And now we're going to import the pictures. So I'm gonna import first the PNG, and as you can see, it comes only with the lines, nothing else. I'm gonna create one layer and have it as white. Oops. So now you have the lines. You already got your sketch. Maybe you like it here and you leave it there. It's totally up to you. You can do that. What I like to do now is to import the JPEG version of it. But as you can see, I have the black background and I don't want that. So I'm gonna import the ID. And with that, I'm gonna have this magic tool. Select all the black, which is the outside. No, I don't need to do that here. Right click, rasterize laser, and delete. Boom, you're done. Now, it's very important to always have at the bottom the white background. It's very important, and you will see now. Also, for this filter that we are going to use, make sure you have it as white here. It's very important. Any other color is going to be that color. What I'm talking about is select your JPEG, which is this one here, you see. Go to filter, filter gallery, and you go to sketch, graphic pen. Now you see these lines here that are white and black. The more you go up, the whiter it becomes. Well, I don't know which one is the correct, because it's depends on what you prefer. Usually I like to be somewhere between 15, 12, like not much brightness but not very dark, something in between. I go here. Oh, looks ugly, but it's fine. The last thing you really need to do here is go to normal, go to difference, and that's it. All the rest you need to do pretty much is just, I don't know, maybe play a bit with levels to make it more, I don't know, dark or white. Something I like to do is control and select here inside. So it's gonna select all the lines and make them a bit more, a bit more black. Because sometimes the lines are not perfect, so now it's more clean. So as I said, control, select here, it selects all the lines, and then depending on where you have your black, just select it. Now I selected the white, black. Then one enter and it's done. And yeah, that's pretty much how you get your manga style comic with no painting. I hope you find this tutorial very useful. And now I'm gonna give you some tips and advices for the people who don't really know how to model or animate characters, to pose them and everything. So first of all, don't be afraid. There's plenty of websites that you can find free assets, free environments, and free characters. Or you can always buy something if you like it and you want to spend money on that. It's totally fine. It all depends on you. Of course, if you know how to model, you can always go and model stuff. If you want to speed up, you can combine some free assets and some of your modeling. Now, for the characters, there's plenty of softwares, or you can get them for free from websites that they give them for free with royalty-free use, so a license-free. So make sure you are not check, for example, the license, what license you have. Some are not commercial use, some are, so make sure you have the commercial use. And there are other softwares like Character Creators, VRoid, it's an anime generator character. You can pretty much play with the body, with the face, with the shape of the hair and everything, and you create your own character. And I think that's something they use a lot. VTubers, I think. Maybe worth it to check it out. It's have the manga-ish characters, so maybe that helps you, because for anime and everything. And yeah, pretty much this is how you do what we do. So hope you find it useful, and please do share what you've done. I would like to see what you have achieved after you follow this tutorial. I would like to see your test and your comics, and wish you all the luck, best luck. Have a great day. Ciao.